All right. Good morning again. John here from RadioKair, supporting Bob with some Meet the Merchant segments. This morning we have a close friend of ours through the Chamber of Commerce, the Greater East Montgomery County Chamber, as well as other things. She's been a big part of the community for several years now, and I've seen her at all kinds of events, and most people will know her face. But she's kind of going pivoting a bit in what she's doing, which is pretty cool, and in my opinion, to be brave enough to do certain things. And then what she's doing, we'll get into pretty quick. But we have Dr. or Miss Dr. Lori McDowell. She has recently wrote a book, which she's going to tell us a little bit about. And then she's also kind of reinventing herself and her company in the hopes to better serve the community. And I will let her explain that. So, Lori, why don't you tell us a little bit about why you took the step off to become an author and what you found you wanted to do to help serve.
Sure, John. Well, I had always thought I wanted to write a book. I just never knew what the book was going to be about. And when I left my corporate job in April, I left in kind of a horrendous way. I had a job that I loved, and then the management changed and it became a job that I hated. And I realized I didn't want to leave the control of my life and my happiness in someone else's hands. So I started doing a lot of self-exploration. And that led me to what I was going to write the book about, the book is called The Reinvention Mindset. And it's basically for people who are stuck, unfulfilled, aren't really completely happy with the life that they live and how they can kind of get over that and reinvent themselves. And I did interviews with people that have faced unimaginable tragedies and become amazing and just basically reinvent themselves in something amazing. Some of them are local. A lot of people will know them. And I found out what it is all those people have in common. I looked at my own life and saw when I was successful. And it's kind of put it together to sort of a memoir / self-help book so that people can learn how to live the life they dream of.
Yeah. So I think we've all gone through those phases in life. And if you haven't, then you probably haven't lived, I guess. So of going down a path, and it could be professionally, right? It could be personally, it could be in a relationship, it could be any different ways. And I think this, me and you kind of both came from out of a corporate world, and then you go into, owning your own business and understanding that aspect of what you're doing. And then, okay, I've gone through this and we've seen people stub their toes. Some of them make it out, some of them don't. And I would hope to think that if you are maybe a newer business owner, or maybe you're stuck in that corporate job, is what you're saying this book is kind of geared towards, hey, here's how to get out of your own way a little bit, right?
Exactly. Yeah. The book will basically hopefully give you the courage to make the change you want and kind of give you a pathway to do it. And, it's not easy. You're going to have to put in a lot of hard work. But the book is kind of your coach just pushing you off, telling you jump. It's okay, and I'll catch you.
And so you were explaining to me the book won't be released till June, so roughly 6 months away from now. And I don't think, there's some people that there's a little bit more urgency than waiting 6 months. And the cool thing about what you're doing is more of a pre-launch, right? But hey, get in touch with me and I can kind of guide you through what the book's going to do. And that way we can go ahead and start you off on the right foot. And then when June comes around, okay, well, now here's another tool that you have in your arsenal to continue down my path. Is that accurate?
That's exactly right. That's kind of why I started the new company, which is called Reimagine Youth Strategies. Reinvention was taken, so I had to go with Reimagine. Okay. The tagline for the company is actually, "Are you finished?" with the capital, because we're never finished. We can always do more, do better. There's always, you get to where you want, there's always that next step. And with the company, I offer speaking, whether it's, keynote speaking or just speaking to small groups and kind of coaching them through. I offer one-to-one coaching. I offer group coaching. I offer instruction, everything from, a 1-hour course for maybe a corporation or a group to an 8-week class through a 3-month group coaching program. And it's basically takes you through the concepts in the book, but in a lot deeper. We do a lot of exercises. We do a lot of self-exploration, and it basically helps you get where you want to go and start on that journey to the life of your dreams.
Yeah, right on. So I was, are you finished, right? Which is a good concept. And my mom and I were actually talking this weekend, and she were drinking coffee or whatever in the morning, and she goes, Do you know that some famous author that 60 something percent of his work was completed after age 82?
Wow. That's
and
amazing. Yeah.
it was like those people that do that is like, for me, 82 is, I'm pretty good watching Fox News and baseball. Right? Let my brain take a rest after 82 years of working it. But some people just hit that overdrive. I mean, late in life, right? So all of a sudden they're, retiring from their corporate job, right? Or walking away from it after 30 years and then going, okay, what's next? And then all of a sudden they find what they're passionate about. What paid the bills for 35 years is different from what they actually love. And so that gives them that motivation.
That's so true. I just turned 60 this year. So at my 60th birthday, decided to start some new companies, write a book, and change my life. And I was actually reading an AARP magazine. They had an article on what they call super agers, people over 90 who are writing books, starting new companies, teaching classes, and it's just amazing. And a lot of what they said got them there, or a lot of the concepts I've covered in my book, which is great because it made me feel like I'm on the right track. But I think really at any age, whether you're just starting out and graduating high school to whether you're in your 70s and decide you want to do more than just retire and watch TV, you can live the life you want. You can change your life. You can do anything you want. You just have to, you know, put your mind to it, and there's a process, and know what you want to do. And we go through things like believing and facing your fears and knowing your whys. And that's kind of all the concepts that can help almost anyone at any age get to where they want to be.
Yeah, that is cool. I'm kind of eager to think on those terms too, right? So I own my small business, as you know, and what I figured out was what paid the bills. Like I said, for 25 years of my life, I have no desire to ever go back to. I'm good at it. I know I got paid great money to do it, but I don't want that to be, what I'm known for. It's just not satisfying. And right, there's a definition of success, and to me, that no matter how far I went up in that chain, it would have never been that success I was looking for. But this is stuff like impactful in the community, supporting others, watching other people be successful, and knowing you had a key role to play in that is cool. And then there's also, you've got to monetize it, right? And so maybe that book and you can help guide. Okay, there's part of it that's your own appreciation for doing it, but there's also the part where you need to be rewarded financially for that support, correct?
Correct. Yes. And the way I think of it, I come from a family where I kind of always felt like, money was necessarily evil, but I'm embracing the fact that money's required, because the more money I make off the book, the more help I can do for the world, the more I can talk to nonprofits and schools where I don't get paid, the more people that read the book. Yes, I will make money, but that's also more people that will be able to change their lives. So I think, I want my goal is to impact as many people as I can, to make the world a better place, and to do that the best as I can. And I can do that by selling more copies of the book, by giving more talks, by coaching more people.
No, it's great. I love it. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about you yourself. Well, first, how would people? Are you finished? How do your company Reimagine You Strategies? How do we get in contact with you very quick? And then we're going to go on a little bit about you.
Sure. Okay. For the book, there is a page for the book. It's called the reinventionmindset.com.
Okay.
And if you go to that page, you can contact me. You can find out to the book. You can order the book as part of the pre-sale. You can buy a ticket to the launch event. You can even sign up for the coaching pages. I will have a web page that's coming out in the next few weeks for the company, and that is called reimagineyou.net. So once that's out, you'll be able to get all the information you can. In the interim, I can be reached at McDowell@reimagineyou.net.
And Reimagine You being reimagine the
letter U. Reimagine the letter U.net.
Okay. Yeah, I'm seeing it here, but I want to make sure that was accurate.
Reimagine the letter U.net.
Okay, right on. Perfect. No, it's easy to remember that, and the reinvention mindset. I love it. So, okay, now let's talk a little bit about Lori and born and raised. Where'd you come from? Your career history a little bit, to know who we're possibly getting in bed with here. What brought you to sit here today?
Sure. Yeah. I was actually born in northern New Jersey. My family home is about 10 minutes away from the the Bada Bing club that was in The Sopranos. So I was born in Soprano Company. My dad was a truck driver and a teamster.
Teacher, yeah.
Yeah. So, and I lived in New Jersey for, my mom still lives up there. My family, a lot of my family is still up in New Jersey, but I lived there until I went away to college. I went to Philadelphia first, got my bachelor's in chemical engineering, took a sprint over to the West Coast, got my master's in environmental engineering, came back, went to Delaware and got my PhD in chemical engineering. And from there, I started working. I worked in refinery catalyst, industrial gases, mostly with the refining and chemical industry. And I worked in R&D, business development, marketing, sales, a number of different roles. I traveled all over the world with my job. I've been to Asia, I've been to all over South America. And I did that for about 30, 35 years. And the last job I had worked for about 10 years. And then my boss changed. I thought I would just stay at that job till I retired and was old enough for Social Security. And when my boss changed, the job went from a job I loved to a job I hated. The company just became a company I really didn't want to work with. And we had a less than amicable parting.
Yeah.
But that was an opportunity that drove me to do what I wanted to do. So.
Yeah, so the oil and gas industry changes, right? I think we've seen the change both in their concepts and what they're trying to accomplish and the pressure that's put on them by environmental companies or society as a whole. And some of those are pretty cool. Like I have a friend, she just moved her family from down the street from us in Kings Point to Denver. And because the company she works for, Chevron, there's a green energy that they just bought out of Denver. And since she had experience like you, she's a doctor as well, and it sounds like dang near the same degree, like the same degree. She got her undergrad at Colorado, and then she got graduate at Rice for her master's or a doctor or something. So she's been around, and then now she's in Colorado doing that. But you can tell she is very happy in what she does because what she does is want to change and impact the environment as a whole long term, and Chevron's kind of gave her that opportunity, which is cool.
Is great. Yeah.
But some people don't get that chance.
Yeah. No, like I said, I know the whole corporate America. I mean, the opportunities I have, I could never have had if I didn't work in a corporation. So, there are people that start their own companies when they're in their 20s. Me, I needed structure. I needed a company, but it also, my company that I worked for brought me down to Houston. I moved down here about 23 years ago for a job relocation, and I love it. I consider myself a Texan. My son was born in Texas, so
yeah, it's that. I mean, I'm the same way, right? At 20 years old, if I would have started coming here at 30, even I didn't have the leadership skills. I didn't have the communication skills. I didn't have the structure in my mind to go through that. So I'm very similar to you in that facet. That I've got to, I needed that at that time in my life. But then when you hit about, in your early 40s, you're like, yeah, I can do this. Do I need your support anymore? I can kind of do this on my own. So no, I agree. So it sounds great. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what are you involved in the community? I know you through the Greater East Montgomery County Chamber, right? I know you. Not I don't say donate to the chamber, but you're a chamber mate, right? Because they have their own needs that you're supporting, and they're supporting you. So it's great to be part of the chamber. But what else do you contribute to? What else do you support in our community?
Right. Yeah, I think that was one of the things I love the most about starting my own business. Before I started Reimagine You Strategies a little over a year ago, I started Schoolie Mitchell of Humble, which helps businesses reduce their cost. And for the first time, I got to be involved in the local business community, and I just loved it. I loved, I joined the Greater East Montgomery as well as Partnership Lake Houston. I joined a BNI. I started donating to local charities, nonprofits. I have Astros tickets, and I donate tickets to a lot of the different events. I'm a huge baseball fan. I'm also part of the Economic Alliance of the Port of Houston, which is great. I'm on their women's committee as well. So I just really enjoy working with local businesses, getting involved. I've been on nonprofit gala committees. I've helped with different events they have, attending the events, and just really supporting the community in general.
Yeah, the nonprofit you're referring to when you were talking about it was H-Town Dream Center, right?
Yes,
And so the young ladies we were interviewing a second ago, they, Christmas is around the corner. And like we said, hey, my kid is 10 and he's pretty spoiled, right? I mean, he's a good kid. He's not spoiled in the fact that he's not taking advantage of the situation, but he definitely has opportunities that a lot of people don't. A lot of kids don't. So I'm talking to him about budgeting for Christmas, and hey, Mama, do we need to get you all those Legos, or maybe can we buy you half and give away some to people, the H Town Dream Center team, so they can reassign those to kids that maybe didn't get the first package of Legos, right?
right.
So talking through that, and they're doing some toy drives out of their location, which is great. H Town Dream Center also has their Christmas celebration, which I think December 8th, 9th, 10th, somewhere in there. So we've got that coming up. A great group with Josh and them that are helping the community a great deal. The chamber, like you mentioned, is great. The Port of Houston's an interesting one. I've got some questions after this about the Port of Houston, specific to port operations that I'm curious about. That it sounds like you've got more knowledge there. Okay, one of the questions I do have, and I've heard this, but just quickly, the reinvention mindset, the book, from the way you were explaining it at one of our breakfasts, was that you interviewed certain people from throughout the community on maybe what challenges they went through, what successes they had. Can you kind of lay out maybe a couple of those, and not the whole story, but just briefly, maybe who they are, if they're willing to get, and then
Sure.
just so we can frame that a little bit.
Sure. Yeah. One of the people I interviewed, and I actually was at her, she held a 5K event, and she was sort of an inspiration that helped me write the book, is Dominique Cousins. And I know she has a radio show here on KAIR. But Dominique was telling her story about how she was diagnosed with MS and she had all these symptoms and was in a wheelchair. And that, God came to her and said, "You're not done." She saw the Phoenix and she started the Phoenix journey. And she went from, basically someone who her whole life was in question to now she's helping so many other people. So that was something in the inspiration that, if you can face something that's so tragic and then turn that around to where not only are you reinventing your own life, but you're helping hundreds and thousands of other people reinvent their life, that was kind of my inspiration. Another person that I've known for many years that I've talked to is Amber Bender, and Amber and Tony Bender. And they're the founders of Addie's Faith Foundation, which is an organization I've been supporting for probably about 15 years. My son played baseball for their father, Coach Bender. And, they had a horrible, their daughter was diagnosed and died of brain cancer, a brain tumor. And they realized that there was not enough money towards pediatric cancer research and that also other families didn't have the support they had. And they started Addie's Faith. And now they've donated millions and millions of dollars to both supporting pediatric cancer as well as to helping families that didn't have the money or the support when their child was diagnosed with cancer. So that's another local local person I interviewed in my book and kind of looked at what in both cases, they had a lot in common. Faith was very important to them, getting help, having a community, having, passion and loving what they were doing, never giving up. So those are all things they had in common that most people who are able to successfully reinvent their lives do.
Yeah, it is neat. Amber and their story is, every time I tell it, I'm the guy in the corner just trying not to cry. And it's not, they don't tell it in a way to make you cry, but every time I hear it, I'm like, oh God.
Yeah, I think every parent feels that way.
It's such a special thing that they've been able to take that and make it something to be, to feel, good about. Because me, I would be buried in a hole, I think, somewhere. It's just, I don't know how you get through that, but they are very special people, very precious part of our community that I think we should all be thankful for, because they're involved in Humble ISD, and the whole district is behind it. It's like, how do you, in that short of time, they're very special people. And then, Dom's this trip. You probably know this, but Dom and Chef come to our house a lot on the weekends and, hang back and grab a few adult beverages. And I give Dom probably the biggest hard time of anybody. But yeah, her story is pretty cool too, and a lot of it, I really think they need to attack it from maybe a menu or a recipe book that
Mm-hmm.
chef can do about the dietary needs for MS, because a lot of her success she contributes
Right, to nutrition.
to the nutrition side of it. And I don't think a lot of people that have those situations and are diagnosed with those, the MS, the bad cancer. I don't think they think in the nutrition term as much as they do the, hey, I got to go to the doctor and I need these shots and I need this drug and all these things. And I think that I think there's a game for chef to play out there, and that could benefit a lot of people. So no, I agree, and I appreciate your support there. Okay, so we went through our normal. What else did I forget to disclose? What else would you like to talk about?
I think we covered a lot of it. Just I have big hopes for this book. I really want, ideally, I would love everybody in the world to read it.
Yeah.
So if you want to be part of the community and help support the book early, I'm having a pre-sale campaign that's going on now. What that entails is if you're willing to support, you actually get an invite to the launch event. I don't have the date yet because it depends on the publisher and the
Sure.
printer. So I know when I'd like to have the book, but I don't want to have the event if the book's not available. You also get an autographed copy of the book. You get an acknowledgement in the book by name that you were a supporter. You get part of a special Facebook community that's private where we actually start doing a little coaching
Nice.
through the book.
Good thought.
You get to vote on the cover art and what picture I use on the book cover, and maybe get to read some chapters early. So I would love for anyone to be part of that community. And if you go to the reinventionmindset.com and go down to where the calendar is, you can join that.
So on the other reimagineyou.net, is there also a link to the Reimagine Mindset book, or is
It will be as soon as the site is up.
Okay.
So
That's the theory.
that's
So
the
they can
theory,
bounce
that they
off
can
each
bounce
other.
back of each other.
Good,
There's a
good.
whole page there. The reinventionmindset.com page, it will be in the reimagineyou.net website. So yes.
All right, and then if you want direct support, I think one of the big things that she said was there's people that need more immediate support, right? In the reimagine yourself world. And if that is a need that you have, then L McDowell at reimagine.net, right? And reach
Right.
out to her and she can support you until the book
Or
launch, and she
you
can get you down a path to where you're hopefully turning a corner by then. And then that's just another tool in the arsenal, right?
Yes, you can also call me or text me at 281-740-2865. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook. So any of those places, you can reach me as well.
Okay, well, I think that does it. Dr. Lori McDowell, my buddy, she has their PhD, also the one was for Chevron, and so I'll say doctor to her, and she's so
Yes,
good.
I know.
But no, I mean it's not easy to get those degrees. So I say, like they say, that joke. What do you call the guy that graduates last in medical school?
Doctor.
Doctor, right? So take it, run with it.
Yes.
So no, congratulations on that. Congratulations on the book. It sounds like it's going to help a lot of people when you have the same path that me and you both went through in the corporate world. And okay, you get in this funk, and how do I get out of it? And even once you get out of it, okay, let's think about a different way to think. And you got some great people. Amber vendors, great people to bounce ideas off of. Dom is a great person to bounce out. So I think it'll go great.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. And like I said, it took me 35 years to get here, and I'm hoping I can